I'm going to just spend a moment or two talking about Father Henry Carr. We give thanks to God for the lives of those who have made this school what it is today. And in a sense, we take the lives of those who have built this school and we unite them with the bread and the wine that we offer in this Mass. And we lift them all up to Almighty God and say to God, these are our gift to you. We ask you to accept these our gifts, the bread and wine of the Eucharist, the lives of those who have built this great school. And we ask you in exchange to transform us, to give us Jesus Christ, your Son, into our lives. And that's what this Mass is about. So one of the people that we lift up today is Father Henry Carr, upon whose name you have built this great school. And I'd like to tell you briefly a little bit about Father Carr. You may know already a little bit about him. He was born a long time ago in 1880. That's quite a while ago. And he was born in Ontario here, Oshawa I think it was. And Father Carr was a member of an order of priests, an order of Catholic priests, called the Basilian Fathers. It's a funny name, Basilian. What does that mean? It doesn't mean like hundreds of millions and bazillions. It means related to Saint Basil. And there are today about 300 Basilian Fathers in the world, working in Canada, the United States, in Mexico, and Colombia. We are dedicated to the work of education. And I want to tell you, I am their leader, by the way, and I want to tell you that all of the Basilian Fathers in the world today, all 300 of us, are very, very proud of this school because it has the name of one of our favorite Basilians. We think that he was one of the greatest Basilian Fathers there ever was, Father Carr. And so we all are very, very proud of you, the students and the teachers and the staff of this great school, because you keep the memory of Father Carr alive. Now, I could talk a lot about Father Carr, and I'm not going to. I want to mention just a couple of points, 2 points really. I have to take you back 100 years ago, to about 1905. That's 105 years ago. And I have to take you down towards the University of Toronto, where it is today. So let's go way downtown to Toronto. And there in 1905, you had a school called St. Michael's College. And it was a school like this school here, made up of wonderful students. Many of them, in fact most of them, at St. Michael's College were Catholic students. And back in 1905, there was a big question. Here was the question. Should we allow these Catholic students at St. Michael's to go and study at the University of Toronto, where people of different faiths studied? Should the Catholic students at St. Michael's College go and study with students who were not Catholics? That was a big question. And a lot of people said, no, we can't do that. We have to keep the Catholics here. We have to keep the Catholic students here at St. Michael's. Because if they go and study with people who are not Catholics, goodness knows what will happen. Now, back in those days, 100 years ago, Toronto, Canada, was not like it is today. We have today this wonderfully rich, multinational, multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-faith country with Christians, Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox, members of the Jewish faith, members of the Muslim faith, Buddhist faith, Hindu faith, the Sikh faith. I could go on and on. Now, in 100 years ago in Canada, in Toronto, there were basically a lot of Protestant Christians and some Catholic Christians and a small Jewish community. That's about it. So the question was, should we allow the Catholic students to go and study at the University of Toronto? Now, Father Carr was the head of St. Michael's College. And people said, no, Father Carr, you can't let the students go and study with other Protestant students, because what will happen to them? They may learn something, they may become Protestants. What would happen if that happened, they thought? Or they may lose their faith. Or people may make fun of them. People may make fun of them. Can I borrow that bottle of water I left back there? Thank you. I used to be a teacher years and years ago, a high school teacher, and I could, thank you, I could talk class after class, not anymore. Anyway, I'm out of training. Where was I? So, oh yes, Father Carr was the head of this school. And people said, they'll make fun of us because we're Catholics, because they were in the minority. Father Carr said, no, let them go and study at the university. Let them be proud of their faith. Let them defend their faith. And maybe, here's where people thought Father Carr was crazy. Maybe our Catholic students will learn something from Protestant students. Maybe our Catholic students will learn something from people of other faiths. And people said to Father Carr, Father Carr, what could you possibly learn? If you're a Catholic, you know everything you need to know. No, Father Carr said, your faith can be enriched by the faith of other people. Now this was back in 1905. People thought he was crazy. And he stood up for his principles and said, no, I think the students of St. Michael's, our Catholic students, should go over and they should be allowed to learn with students of different faiths. And he went over to the University of Toronto and said, will you take our Catholic students? And the University of Toronto said, well, we'll take them, but you know, are you sure you want them to come over here? And Father Carr said, yes, because our Catholic students may strengthen the faith of people who are here, and those people who are here may strengthen the faith of our Catholic students. Well, the University of Toronto said, okay, let them come. And that's what made the University of Toronto what it is today. Because after the Catholics came to the University of Toronto, then the Methodist Christians were allowed to come to the University of Toronto. That's what Victoria College is today, for those of you who know the University of Toronto. Some of the teachers here were students at the University of Toronto. And some of you will know Trinity College. Well, they're the Anglicans. After Father Carr brought the Catholics to the University of Toronto, the Anglicans came. And then we had coming to life this wonderful multi-faith university. And this is something that is uniquely Canadian. The idea that people of different faith traditions could all go and study together at one university and share their faith with one another. And that would be an enriching learning experience. And that model was copied right across the country. The University of Toronto, the University of Manitoba, the University of Saskatchewan, the University of Alberta, the University of British Columbia. And Father Carr, after he left St. Michael's, went from province to province, founding Catholic colleges on the campuses of provincial universities where Catholics could come and study with other students. So let me leave you with 2 points from Father Carr. Number one, if you're going to be a student of Father Carr High School, then you are committed to this principle. Always be proud of your faith and do not be afraid to talk about it. That's what Father Carr wanted you to do, to be strong in your faith, to be strong in your Catholic faith if you're a Catholic, to be strong in your Protestant faith if you're a Protestant, to be strong in your Orthodox faith if you're Orthodox, to be strong in your Jewish faith if you're Jewish. Be strong in your faith and do not be afraid to talk about it, especially in the society in which we live today, where people say, don't talk about your faith, keep it to yourself, keep it at home. Father Carr said, no, talk about your faith and be proud to talk about it. Number 2. Now look, when I say talk about it, I mean don't hit people over the head. You don't want to become annoying or boring. But when the topic comes up, have the strength of character to say, I am a Catholic and this is what I believe. Number 2, never forget, Father Carr taught his students, never forget that as a Catholic, you can learn a lot and your faith can be strengthened by people who are not Catholic. And if you are a Muslim, a good Muslim, you will be able to learn from people who are not Muslim. That's what Father Carr believed. We could learn from one another. And not only would my faith not become weaker, in fact, my faith would be stronger if I know about your faith. That's very important for Father Carr. So, those are the 2 lessons that you can take from Father Carr's life. Never be afraid to talk about your faith, and always know you can become stronger in your faith by getting to know the faith of another person. Let us take a moment in silence now to give thanks to God for the life of Father Carr and of Father McLean and of Mr. Jack Quigley.